In a workshop, a master craftsman was adjusting a part on the workbench. At that moment, a customer who happened to be nearby unknowingly touched the machine's control lever. However, the lever suddenly disengaged and dropped to the floor with force. Fortunately, no one was injured, and the situation was quickly brought under control. This incident shows how dangerous it can be for unauthorized people to enter production areas. Visitors should only observe from safe zones and never touch machines. In addition, control levers and locking mechanisms should be inspected regularly to prevent unexpected movements. In the warehouse of an industrial parts factory, a worker was using an overhead crane to lift massive steel coils weighing about 3 tons. While trying to position one of the suspended coils, it suddenly lost balance and toppled over. The worker faced the risk of being crushed under the heavy metal load, but co-workers quickly intervened to stabilize the situation. This incident highlights the critical importance of caution when working with suspended loads or stacking heavy materials. Standing beneath or within the tipping zone of a load that can roll or fall is extremely dangerous. Workers should stay clear of drop zones and use guide ropes to control movement from a safe distance. In front of a textile factory, a truck loaded with cotton bales was parked. The driver approached the trailer to check the cargo and tighten the loose straps. At that moment, the stacked bales lost balance and several fell to the ground. This incident demonstrates the risk of uncontrolled movements during cargo securing and strap tightening. Straps are sometimes the only element holding unstable loads, so workers must not stand within the collapse zone. All adjustments should be made from a safe distance, and bales should be stacked in an interlocking pattern for stability. At a loading site, an operator driving an electric pallet jack accidentally hit the wheel of a parked forklift. Because the forklift's parking brake was not engaged or was left in neutral, it suddenly started rolling forward. The uncontrolled machine hit a nearby vehicle. Workers who witnessed the incident tried to stop the moving forklift with their hands, but it didn't work. This event underlines how crucial parking safety is for industrial vehicles. Forklifts and pallet jacks must always be parked with the handbrake engaged, forks lowered, and the engine turned off. Trying to stop a moving machine manually is dangerous. Workers should always maintain a safe distance. At another loading area, a forklift operator was unloading a pallet from a truck. While the load was still on the forks, it began to tip sideways. A nearby worker instinctively tried to stop it with his hands, but the weight was far too much to resist. Within seconds, the load completely fell to the ground. This incident shows how dangerous it is to intervene with falling or tipping loads. Human strength cannot stop heavy objects. Workers must stay at a safe distance and move away immediately if a load begins to fall. Material losses can be recovered, but safety cannot. At a construction site, workers were trying to move a heavy machine into a building through an opening on the second floor. Since there was no suitable crane or platform available, they attempted an extremely risky method. They placed a smaller forklift with an operator on top of the forks of a larger forklift. The smaller forklift was carrying the actual load on its own forks. While the operator of the lower forklift tried to balance this tower, the upper operator attempted to extend the load inside. But the combined weight and shifted center of gravity exceeded the system's limits, causing the load to slide off the upper forklift's forks and fall to the ground. This incident demonstrates how dangerous improvised solutions can be in workplaces. Forklifts are not designed to lift people or other machines. Work at height and heavy lifting must always be done with the proper equipment. If the right tool is not available, the job must be stopped, never risked. On the side of a road, a worker was walking while carrying a long metal rod. At the same time, a forklift fitted with long fork extensions was maneuvering to enter the road. The operator misjudged the length and the portion extending beyond the vehicle. Just then, a passing car collided with the protruding forks. The impact caused serious damage to the car and created brief panic in the area. This event shows that machinery operating in traffic-exposed areas requires extra caution. Long forks or attachments alter an operator's visibility and maneuvering range. Therefore, a spotter should always be present near the roadside, and traffic should be temporarily stopped if necessary. At a loading zone, workers were trying to lift a massive cylindrical roll onto a truck. Since one forklift's capacity wasn't enough, they positioned two forklifts on either side of the load to lift it together. To balance the weight, some workers climbed onto the back of the forklifts as live counterweights. When lifting began, the load's weight created excessive pressure. One forklift's fork arm broke, throwing the balance off. Both forklifts tipped forward. This incident shows how exceeding capacity limits and using improvised solutions can be extremely dangerous. Dual forklift lifts should only be carried out with special attachments and proper engineering planning. Methods like using human counterweights are extremely risky. The right solution is proper equipment and trained operators. A forklift was loading two stacked wooden crates onto a trailer, where two workers inside were arranging the cargo. However, the forklift's forks were misaligned and the crates were unsecured. As the operator lowered the load, the crates slid sideways and toppled over. This incident emphasizes the critical importance of coordination during loading operations. If multiple people are involved, a designated coordinator must be assigned. The operator must stay in constant communication with personnel inside the trailer, and no one should be near the load while the forklift is in motion. A moving platform loaded with bricks continued traveling uncontrollably along its rails after its remote control malfunctioned. The operator tried to stop it using the controller, but the system didn't respond. The platform overshot the end of the track and fell off. Fortunately, no one was nearby, so there were no injuries, but the platform was badly damaged. This event highlights the importance of maintenance and testing for remote-controlled systems. Mechanical backup systems should be installed for emergency stops. No one should be in the area during operation, and emergency stop buttons must always be easily accessible.